Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another fine episode of the Ferris Wheel Rock Show, and sometimes in parentheses, Classic Rock Show. I'm one of your co-hosts and co-conspirators, Ferris Kennedy, and in a booth to the left of me, a man who lost out to Matt LeBlanc on Friends as Joey Tribbiani and had to settle for McDermott the Hermit.
Julian Clark, thank you very much.
And the man in the booth across from us who's wearing a sock on his private parts.
And nothing else?
And nothing else.
Viagra medicated wheeler.
And it's so fitting for the topic of today's show.
It certainly is fitting.
And it's kind of weird, Wheels, that you're also wearing a nylon on your head. But
This came from a bank.
I was going to say, it's my withdrawal week.
No, more of a deposit.
So here we go. So we're going to start off as usual with some current events.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wheeler, what do you got?
ZZ Top is working right now on their 16th album, which also could contain a song that they've been trying to complete since the band formed close to 50 years ago.
Maybe you should just give it a rest. If you can't get it in 50 years.
This is actually their first album since 2012. So the last album was La Futura, which was to be produced by Rick Rubin.
Oh, interesting.
And it should also have a special appearance by Jeff Beck.
So there you go.
So
Beck tends to sit in on, I think, there's a lot of guesswork now.
So according to Gibbons, now there's a guy that not only is still doing it like we like to do it, but also inventing things on the guitar that probably wasn't really designed to be done. This is about Beck. So It should be interesting.
Yeah, he was called in by a bunch of people. I've seen them, even very obscure groups. If they want Guns, there's a great video, by the way. It's a little bit old now with Guns N' Roses when they kind of called in Jeff Beck, and they're just kind of looking at him, drooling, and he's just tuning up, and their mouth breathing, kind of, oh my God, who is this guy? And he flies back over to his home in England. He's kind of a terrifying guy that way.
ZZ Top, I respect Billy Gibbons. I think I really love Billy Gibbons. I think he's an underrated guitarist in my opinion. But for me, ZZ Top, there are 3 albums.
Yeah.
It's Tres Hombres, Vagabond, and Eliminator.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
But what's really interesting is if Rick Rubin is in there, Rick Rubin can either do the shittiest album you've ever heard or the best. Because we have to remember, this is the guy who revived Johnny Cash's career just before he died. So this could actually be the resurrection act of ZZ Top.
I think Rick Rubin is kind of like what Mutt Lange was in the late 70s, early 80s. Perfect example. That Guten Gegen, that thing that he does there.
Yeah.
He did it with Rock of Ages for Def Leppard, and then he did it with Pretty Fly for a White Guy with The Offspring. Now the funny thing is that last year I went to see Offspring with my spouse, and obviously Guten, and then the week after we're at a Def Leppard concert, and the guy in front of me, it would look like he was there in '83, and then and then the friggin' good thing, it came back, she's like, hey, I'm like, no, they did it first. I go, same producer on both albums for both bands, but they did it first.
Good for you.
So, that's it?
Yep.
Perfect. So, hey, here we are moving into the meat of the show.
What are we talking about today?
Well, considering Wheels inspired us with his sock on his knob, so we're going to talk about the Red Hot Chili Peppers, who are basically known for wearing socks on their private parts. Most likely Flea was the one that really did it, but here we go. So few rock groups of the 80s broke down as many musical barriers and were as original as the Red Hot Chili Peppers, creating an intoxicating new musical style by combining funk and punk rock together. And don't forget their awesome showmanship on stage. Chili Peppers spawned a slew of imitators in their wake, but still managed to basically build their own character and their own persona. The roots of this band lays in simple friendship of 3 individuals coming out of Fairfax High School in California, and that is Anthony Kiedis, Michael Balzeri, and Hillel Slovak. While both Balzeri and Slovak showed great musical promise on trumpet and guitar, respectively, Kiedis is actually known for poetry. That's what his big thing was, is basically writing poems. This kind of led to Basically, Anthony Kiedis concentrating more on acting and doing drama alongside with poetry writing, while Slovak and Balzeri did more instruments, and then it was basically came into that Slovak taught Balzeri how to play bass. So the two of them actually encouraged Anthony Kiedis to continue doing his poetry. So how this band was formed was with those three. And it kind of just started off in California, and they were just performing in colleges. That was where they got a lot of their fame from, or not fame, but I would say like where they got noticed. And obviously wearing tube socks covering certain parts of their anatomy, this is how it kind of drew attention. So by 1983, Michael Balzeri went by the name that we all know him as, Flea. And then the group basically formed as, their new name as the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So where we're going with this? Well, word spread quickly about the up-and-coming band, resulting in a recording contract with EMI. But before the Chili Peppers could begin work on their debut, Flea and Kiedis were dealt a disappointing blow when both Slovak and Irons, who was one of the original drummers, were leaving the band to focus on another band that they were in, which was called What Is This? That was a band that they were in. So, with replacement members of Jack Sherman on guitar and Cliff Martinez on drum filling in, the Peppers released their self-titled debut album in 1984, but the absence of the two original members showed as the album failed to capture excitement of their live shows that they were used to performing in the college scene. While the album didn't set the world on fire, sales-wise, the group began to build a dedicated underground following with the college radio buffs. So by 1985, What Is This? Went kaput. So obviously those two guys basically come back to the Chili Peppers, resulting in the George Clinton-produced Freaky Styley. While the album was an improvement over its predecessor, it still lacked the fire on the band's in-concert experience. So a problem that would finally be solved with their next album in 1987, which is the Uplift Mofos Party Plan. The album was the group's first to make an impression on the charts, and they followed it up a year later with a stopgap 5-track release, the Abbey Road EP, or if I like to pronounce it, the Abbey Road EP, which is a $30 CD.
This is 5 tracks?
Yep.
All right.
An EP, right?
EP, yeah.
Or what do they call it? Extended play? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that was done in 1988. But just as the world was warming up to the Chili Peppers, tragedy struck when Hillel Slovak died from a heroin overdose on June 25th, 1988, the day after Saint Jean-Baptiste in Quebec. So obviously, in the wake of Slovak's death, Irons left the group for the second time and the final time. While Kiedis, who was also battling a drug addiction, I don't understand what is going on here. Can't you learn, one of your friends just passed away due to this, and now you're going on to this, or whatever. So, and Flea decided to soldier on. So it's just Kiedis and Flea, all right? After a new lineup featuring former, Ian, you know this guy, Parliament guitarist Dwayne Blackbird McKnight.
Okay.
Yeah, and former Dead Kennedys drummer D.H. Pellegro.
Diverse guys.
Yeah, it didn't work out. So they kind of kicked them out again, and the duo found worthy replacements in newcomers of John Frusciante and the Will Ferrell lookalike of Chad Smith. So the new look Chili Peppers hit pay dirt straight away as their first album together, which was known as 1989's Mother's Milk, became a surprise hit due to the MTV exposure of their videos for a cover of Stevie Wonder's Higher Ground and a song about their fallen friend Slovak, which was called Knock Me Down. As the album was certified gold by early 1990, the band members knew that their next release would be the most important one of their career. So they moved into a mansion-turned-recording studio with producer, none other than Rick Rubin, to work on what would become their most successful release yet, the stripped-down Blood Sugar Sex Magic, which was their first of Warner Brothers label. The album became a monster hit in September 1991 with obviously the two big hits, which was Give It Away and the group's first top 10 single, Under the Bridge.
Wait a second. Hold up a second. Somebody's knocking. Someone's at the door. Oh no.
Oh, hello.
And now it's time for Ian's Knock, a little segment we like to call Affairs with Rock Show, where Ian himself will rant and rave on books, reviews, musicians, artists, people, or whatever just does not go his way that day. Who knows? You might be on Ian's Knock, 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 knock.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go ahead and just talk about annoying frontmen, people. Annoying frontmen in rock music. And I'm going back to a list here from 2013. I've enhanced it. This is from Project Revolver. So I've enhanced some of their critiques with my own. Let's go through about 8 annoying frontmen from rock and roll.
Only 8?
Only 8?
Listen, time's a factor.
Time's
here.
in essence. He's got 3 minutes.
If we had 3 hours, I could do 80.
All right.
Chris Martin from Coldplay. Oh, we all love Coldplay, and he does so much for fair trade. Maybe. Did anyone notice how he never walks? He only skips? Or how his lyrics are a reason enough to slap someone if they said them to you? I'm so scared about the future, and I want to talk to you. Imagine that. Chris, it's hopeless to even try to fix you. John Bon Jovi. I know it's your life, but who the F cares if you're living on a prayer? How's that possible? You can live on a tree and an island and a diet and a drug and a bed of roses, but not in a prayer. You'll die in a prayer. Not to mention, how cocky is it to name your band after yourself? The band should have been called, I don't know, maybe Bon Sambora? Maybe Bonjour. Oh, that's already taken. Axl Rose. We don't need a reason to hate Axl, but we can make one up. His high-pitched, shaky voice is like a headless chicken hauling for breath from that vein popping out of its neck. He can't sing worth shit, but he's pretty good at being a cocky, pretentious bitch. And then there's Fred Durst from Limp Bizkit. Here's an unpublished Newton law of physics. Metal plus rap equals crap. Chad Kroger, we know that you sound, we know when you swallow something, how that kind of gurgly sound. Well, that's Nickelback. Chad is constantly swallowing something. Random fact, there are more than 3 chords in a guitar. Jared Leto, 30 Seconds to Mars. He's a million-selling rock idol who's a serious actor, known for taking on difficult roles. He's handsome, soft-spoken, serious, and sensitive. He hangs out with hip, famous artists. He directs ambitiously arty music videos under an assumed name. Look, you gotta give him credit for consistently sucking at so many things at the same time.
And making the worst Joker of all time.
But Wheels, you were drawing something about Fred Durst. What was it regarding what kind of what?
Oh yeah, Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Apparently now they have a pill for that.
Oh, okay.
Again, I wouldn't know that. Adam Levine, I think I'll vomit if I even try to explain this mofo. It's so annoying, so just accept it as it is. Bono, Paul David Hewson. He's the Oprah Winfrey of rock. He keeps talking all the time how he once gave $1 to a beggar, then goes home and takes the credit for the band's success. He's not helping anyone but his own ego, plus he calls himself by one name. How irritating is that? And of course, you know his buddy, The Edge, David Howell Evans. But these aren't bad rock names. And finally, Sting, Gordon Matthew Thomas Sumner. Most men want to slap the spit out of Sting. His sanctimonious jabbering exceeds all human patience and forgiveness. Again, he calls himself by one name. So he can shake hands with Madonna, and other people with one name. He's known and celebrated for being the world's most prominent living hypocrite. Which says something. I had to go in there with Ian's knock, and why don't we swing on back to the medium red to red hot chili peppers.
Oh, yes. So, as we all know, Under the Bridge was their first top 10 single, but not all was well in the Chili Peppers camp. Like his predecessor, Frusciante had become addicted to hard drugs. What is wrong with this band? Seriously.
Frusciante, an Italian dinner?
Yeah, it is. Actually, it's a very nice meal. And he abruptly left the band mid-tour in early 1992. Undeterred, the band enlisted a new member by the name of Eric Marshall and headlined Lollapalooza 2 in the summer. When the band returned to the studio to work on its 6th release album, it quickly became apparent that Marshall did not fit in, and he was replaced by Jesse Tobias. But before Tobias could even record a note with the group, he was handed his walking papers as well. And former Jane Addiction guitarist Dave Navarro signed on. After a layoff of 4 years, the Peppers much delivered a follow-up to the BSSM, which is Blood Sugar Sex Magic, which was released in 1985, One Hot Minute. So that's the first album of Navarro. While the album was a sizable hit, it failed to match the success and musical focus of its predecessor, as it became apparent during the album's ensuing tour that Navarro wasn't fitting in as well as originally hoped, and he had left the band in early 1998. A little bit of tidbit tribute Navarro. Of course, he had an addiction, and he wanted to actually go play for Guns N' Roses at one point, and they said, yeah. Sorry, bro.
Was that addiction Carmen Electra?
That'd be a very good addiction, but no, I don't know what the addiction was, but yeah, it's
Jane's addiction. Right?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and let's talk, Perry Farrell is another one that has, and they all have addictions. I don't know what the hell's wrong with these people. Jesus. So
it's the poetry, man. When you're a teenager and you do poetry.
What it is, lifestyle.
Well, after an extensive supporting tour, the Red Hot Chili Peppers took an extended hiatus, and the members pursued individual interests. Flea actually began studying music at the USC, and he actually studied music theory at the University of South California. No,
Southern California.
Yeah, and played in a variety of side projects. Kiedis attempted to turn his autobiography Scar Tissue into a television show. Smith joined Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony, and Joe Satriani in the party supergroup called Chickenfoot. Frusciante then released his own album in 2009, which by the time he had left the band, his replacement was Josh Cliffhanger. So Frusciante came back after Navarro left, and then he did a pretty decent run, or at least 11 years. In 2009, the hiatus, he's gone. Josh is back. Josh is here. His name is Cliff Klinghoffer. I'm so sorry. And here's the sad part, because they did a really good album, which is Stadium Arcadium, and it was a whole tour, which is an album, by the way, that was produced by Rick Rubin. And then, funny enough, Frusciante is now back as a guitarist in 2019. So there's nothing wrong with Klinghoffer. It's just Frusciante wants to come back.
These guys got real issues.
They're like the employment office, really. When you think about it, like every guy that needs a job, come on in.
So here's a small discography of what I have for the Chili Peppers. 1984, it's their self-titled album. 1985, Freaky Styley. 1987, The Uplift Mofo Party Plan. 89, Mother's Milk. 91, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. One Hot Minute, which Dave Navarro was on it for 1995. Californication, Frusciante's Back. 1999. Yeah. By the Way, 2002. Live in Hyde Park, 2004. Stadium Arcadium 2006, I'm With You 2011, and then The Getaway in 2009. So I made a mistake with Stadium Arcadium. It's actually Frusciante's last album, and then Josh did I'm With You and then The Getaway in 2011 and 2016.
Considering how much of a revolving door they are, that's understandable.
It's confusing.
Flea himself got involved in pet care products. There was Flea powder that he put out for a while.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know, it's a sad thing, but he had lots of time, obviously.
He did, and exactly the only two things that remain consistent, or constant, may I say, with the Chili Peppers over the long and successful career is Flea and Anthony Kiedis.
And addictions.
Addictions. Not Jane's, just another addiction. Actually, being childhood friends, they've stayed together, and that's pretty well that I think that I've always kept the group up. Guitarist to seem to be the most volatile position in this band. 8 different men have held the role at various points in the band's existence. The most recent changes, which is again now brought John Frusciante back in 2019, which he's almost gone for a decade, and it marks the guitarist's 3rd stint with a group. So what's that famous saying? 3 is a charm, right?
Yeah, really.
The band also has gone through several drummers, though Chad Smith has had the position locked down now for the better part of the last 3 decades.
Wait, hang on. At the studio, there's leaking some sound here. It sounds like cocktail music to me. I'm not sure what's going on. I am talking to
And now, Yes or No with Ferris Kennedy, the segment where the sick, drug-addled mind of Mr. Kennedy forcibly asks Dr. Clark and medicated Wheeler yes or no questions about classic rock, and you get to hear the sick, drug-addled answers.
Makes my knees freeze.
Well, yes, it's time to visit my sick and demented mind, which has nothing but pure thoughts. It's yes or no.
Pure evil talk.
Well, here we are. Yes or no? Well,
Yeah.
Ian, we kind of drilled you last time, and we're going to drill you again.
All right.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Is it true that you do not like Bob Geldof?
That is true on many levels.
Fantastic. Did Jeff Lynne help produce the White Album?
Yes, in my understanding, he really helped out a lot on that. No, he didn't.
Okay. Do you cherish your vinyl collection?
I think in a sad way, yeah.
Okay. Is Sebastian Bach the pride of Peterborough, Ontario, Canada?
Look, there's not even a close second. If you go up to Peterborough Canoe Company, anything's second to Sebastian.
Okay. Is Pet Sounds one of your favorite albums?
Yeah. Easy.
Easy. Is it true that you threw an Aqualung album at our old station manager in Williston, North Dakota of Z96.1 KYYZ FM?
I threw it like a frisbee on fire. It took off his ear, I think.
All right. And
Sitting on a park bench, snot running down his nose. You know, used to play that a lot in discotheques, by the way. Snot running down his nose. Yeah.
would you agree that Stephen Page was the voice of the Bare Naked Ladies, and when he left, they went downhill from there?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Sure, literally the voice.
Wheels?
Oh, Lord.
Did Ozzy make Black Sabbath who they are today?
Yes.
Okay. Was it necessary for INXS to replace their singer after his passing?
No, because they could have stopped right there.
During the years of our friendship, can you say that there is music you listen to now due to my influence?
Oh, Lord, yeah. I'd say half of it.
Okay.
Would you say that's a good thing? No.
I would say, but maybe not everybody in my family circle.
Do you respect Ice Cube as an artist?
As a musical artist, yes.
Okay.
As an actor, no.
And final question for you, kind sir. Was Rick Rubin a better producer than Mutt Lange?
That could be a trick.
It could be a trick, yeah. In retrospect, I think so, yes.
Okay. It's like I said, it's tailored to. Yeah, I know you guys really well.
It's cool.
So that was the episode of
Yes. No.
And in Quebec, oui ou non?
In Quebec, though, it's a really dangerous game to play.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, right. Good point. So what's happening with your medium hot chili peppers?
Well, I have a timeline here.
Yes.
And it's just timeline, and I think it goes with songs. Yes, timeline and songs. So here we go. 1983. Anthony Kiedis, Hillel Slovak, Jack Irons, and Flea, they formed the Chili Peppers. 1983-84, Flea, Anthony Kiedis, Cliff Martinez, and Jack Sherman are the Chili Peppers again, so because the other two left. In 1985-86, Flea, Anthony Kiedis, and Cliff Martinez alongside with Hillel Slovak. Luckily, they departed the group. That's what happened. Okay? 85-86, they were called the Temporary Peppers. Okay? From 86 to 88, it was Flea, Kiedis, Slovak, Jack Irons. And then... obviously, Jack Irons followed Slovak and returned to the band, so basically they came back with the tail between their legs.
This is a brutal band. They would
It is.
Out. It's horrible.
1988, Flea, Anthony Kiedis, D.H. Peligro, Dwayne McKnight. So obviously, because Slovak passed away, Irons
Other
left.
Drug-related issues.
Yeah, so they had to kind of form the band.
Jesus,
Obviously,
you guys are a mess.
didn't work out. Then it went 86 to 88 again. In that time period, it was Flea, Kiedis, Peligro, and then John Frusciante. This is actually the Peppers' first attempt at hiring a replacement drummer, and they took the former Dead Kennedys drummer, D.H. Peligro.
Big mistake.
Short-lived. Then they went 88 to 92, which was, I think, the mecca of their career. I think that was the pinnacle.
Apex,
Flea, Kiedis, John Frusciante, and Chad Smith. Listen, I'd like Dave Navarro, but let's just face it, these guys, it's a solid four-man lineup, okay? 1992-93, it was Flea, Kiedis, Chad Smith, Eric Marshall. 93 was Flea, Kiedis, Chad Smith, Jesse Tobias. There's a pattern here, you know? It's just, 1993-98. Not a bad lineup. You had Flea, Kiedis, Chad Smith, Dave Navarro. What's wrong with that?
Trying to remember, is that the lineup we saw in The Simpsons, the Lollapalooza?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, they're the ones that did also that remake song. I forget who did it first. Ian, you probably remember. Roller Coaster. It's like, Roller Coaster!
The Ohio Players.
Yeah, so So they did the cartoon for Beavis and Butthead in the video, right?
Oh, okay.
So that was on there. So 1988 to 2009, we're going back to the original lineup before the Navarro. So it's Flea, Kiedis, Chad Smith, Frusciante. Then 2009 to 2019, we got Flea, Kiedis, Smith, Klinghoffer.
Klinghoffer, come here.
Klinghoffer.
Timothy Schmidt wants to talk to you.
Timothy B. Schmidt. And it's not bad, actually, because now they went 2019 onwards with Kiedis, Flea, Smith, and now we're back to Frusciante.
Filling out forms into the personnel office.
But there's still some good news, though. 2012, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame reunion.
How many guys are on the stage? Like 30. Yeah, really.
Yeah, so here it is. It says, when the Chili Peppers were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2012, the group's current lineup posed with former drummers Jack Irons and Cliff Martinez. So
it's interesting. There's this note here. It's funny when they have these reunion gigs at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Often there's so much bitterness that guys don't show up. Infamously, Blondie started to argue on stage, and John Fogerty wouldn't play with his brother, and the former bandmates. There's so much animosity, and they're out there, high-fiving, and this is great recognition, but I don't want to see you again in my lifetime.
It's unbelievable, how all of a sudden, for example, Journey, they induct into the Hall of Fame with Steve Perry, and then they perform, as you people heard in my rant of our solo shows, they perform with Arnel Pineda. It's very weird.
Bizarre stuff.
So, to top off the Chili Peppers, we have the 10 best Red Hot Chili Peppers songs.
Okay.
Behind the Sun, it's not Here Comes the Sun, Behind the Sun. From the Uplift Mofo Party Plan, that was in 1987. Many Peppers fans feel the band didn't find its footing until Mother's Milk, but Behind the Sun proves that the years with founding guitarist of Hillel Slovak had their share of highlights. Unusually melodic and restrained for the Uplift Mofo Party Plan, the tune would prove to be the original Peppers lineup's only charting single, albeit 5 years later, 1992, when they released What Hits Money Grab compilation. Okay, Breaking the Girl from the Blood Sugar Sex Magic album. That is the fourth single off that album, and it's an enchanting ballad in an odd 6 to 8 time signature driven by John Frusciante's Zeppelin-inspired acoustic guitar riffs. Singer Anthony Kiedis once revealed that this tune's abstract lyrics are about his troubled relationship with his model ex-girlfriend Cameron Hawke. Interesting. Knock Me Down from Mother's Milk. That was in 89. The death of Hillel Slovak, the result of a drug overdose, started a transitional period that eventually led to the arrival of Frusciante and drummer Chad Smith, and that landed Kiedis in rehab. Interesting story. When he got out, he penned Knock Me Down, whose lyrics find the singer bravely asking for help in dealing with his own drug demons. If you see me getting high, knock me down, he sings. That's a lot of money.
Lord,
yeah.
This group is a mess.
I Could Have Lied from the Blood Sugar Sex Magic. It's about someone cheating in a relationship. A deeper spiritual betrayal. Drugs. The answer, of course, is in the ear of the beholder. This is depressing.
You know that they're heading for a wall.
By the Way, from By the Way in 2002. This song is all about juxtaposition. If it were just melodic verses on their own, it would be standard issue, later era Peppers fare. If the tune was only in the driving, stomp-infused bridge, it would be an uninspired novelty play.
But what is it with the juxtaposition?
It's probably drugs.
Yeah.
Soul to Squeeze. Well, it's from the Coneheads music from the motion picture soundtrack 1993. Yeah. So Soul to Squeeze was left off Blood Sugar Sex Magic because it didn't quite fit the vibe. But that didn't stop the song from eventually topping the alternative rock chart. When it did finally drop as a single of the Coneheads movie soundtrack, of all places, Soul to Squeeze was both a placeholder while the band worked on One Hot Minute and the spiritual follow-up to Under the Bridge. Don't worry, we'll get that one soon.
That's kind of like the Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead
from the Dumb and Dumber for the Crash Test Dummies. But it's funny though, because that song, the Ballad of Peter Pumpkin, it's the Crash Test Dummies featuring Ellen Reed. But Ellen Reed is part of the Crash Test Dummies. So did they want to emphasize that Ellen is doing the vocals?
I think it's the only time she ever did the vocals, which is really sad because she has an amazing voice.
And she was hot back then. Yeah, she was pretty hot.
Maybe they want guys singing like this.
Oh, Brad Rock.
Never. I mean, really.
We should have him on the show, actually. Danny California, that's from the Stadium Arcadium album 2006, an ode to all things classic rock. Danny California features a scorching Frusciante guitar solo taken straight out of the Hendrix School of Guitar, not to mention a 4-chord main riff so similar to Tom Petty's Mary Jane's Last Dance that there was talk of legal action. The amazing video saw the band saluting the iconic musicians that blazed trails ahead of them by dressing up in the distinct styles of the Beatles, David Bowie, the Sex Pistols, and Unplugged, Nirvana, and more. So they were doing that. Give It Away from BSSM. You know, everyone knows the acronym for that. Breakthrough for the Peppers, Give It Away, the lead single off of BSSM, shot straight to the top of the alternative rock charts. The upbeat party jam could also be credit or blamed for leading the rock-rap hybrid that became so ubiquitous later in that decade. So a lot of things were taken into that. Scar Tissue is from Californication. That's the first single that marked Frusciante's return to the fold after years of battling drug addiction.
Jeez.
Wow. Under the Bridge, let me guess. It's probably going to have drugs, right? So it is from the BSSM album that propelled the Peppers to international rock stardom since dropping in 1991. It sold more than, get this, Ian, 15 million copies around the world.
Doesn't come close to the video. Eagles.
Yeah, it does not come close, but, got to give some people credit where it is. So, Under the Bridge is a song that changed everything, a soulful ballad that plays both tribute to the band City of Angels, obviously from Los Angeles, and delves into the singer's drug demons.
That's different. There's a drug problem in that.
You know that if these guys didn't make it as a music act, they would be touring high schools saying, don't do drugs, kids.
Or maybe colleges, because that's when you start experimenting, that wonderful, beautiful thing.
Well, it depends. In Los Angeles, I think it's high schools.
Right, preschool, or daycare, maybe, And to top it all off, here is the list of band members. Ian, please be prepared to fall off your chair and wheels. I don't know. You might
I'm in a wheelchair, so it's not too bad.
It's true.
So, there we go. Anthony Kiedis is a singer. Flea is the bass. Jack Sherman was a lead guitar from 1983 to 84. Hillel Slovak, lead guitar from 83 to 88. Dwayne McKnight, lead guitar from 1988 to 1988. Didn't last too long. John Frusciante, lead guitar from 88 to 92, and then 98 to 2009. Back in 2019. Eric Marshall, 92 to 93, lead guitar. Jesse Tobias, lead guitar, 1993 to 1993. There's a little pattern here, eh?
Yeah.
Dave Navarro, lead guitar from 1993 to 1998. Josh Klinghoffer, lead guitar from 2009 to 2019. Jack Irons, drums from 83 to 86. Cliff Martinez, I just like to say that, from Two Life Crew. 1986 to 1988 as the drummers, and then to top it all off, Will Ferrell's impersonation, Chad Smith, 1988 till present day as a drummer.
Wow.
Jesus, can you
Lord.
go, how many people? It's like a friggin' Mormon party there,
Kinda, yeah.
That's good. I like
the Mormon tabernacle of rock.
I want to talk more about it, but I'm getting leakage here again.
What does that sound?
I think there's a cocktail. There's Liberace next door. Yeah, what is that all about?
The music at night, it sounds bright on Wheeler's turntable. shines a light. He keeps his vinyl in sight and gives you his magnificent review. Now here's a clue we have for you. It's time for Wheeler's Vinyl Review.
So today we're going to talk about Kraft Records' reissue of CCR's Green River and Willie and the Poor Boys.
Kraft, is that the cheese people?
No, that's more like the magical people. That kind of Kraft. So it's the group is actually called Concord Music Group, but it's under the label Fantasy Kraft. And it's on 180 gram LPs. And if I were a school teacher, I would say the music got a 90%. But the sound on this one, more of an 80%. So it's not bad. So some of you might wonder, like, why am I not talking about Bayou Country, which is probably the more legendary album with Proud Mary, Born on the Bayou, which I think to a certain extent is a better album. But the reason why I'm going with Green River is that it's a much more consistent album. And you've got Bad Mood Rising, which I think is the one tune that everybody really wants from CCR. Anyway.
No, I want Fortunate Son.
Oh, okay.
That's on the B side of Willie and the Poor Boys.
It is, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So, I mean, these guys were really hot for at least 3 good albums, I'd say.
They were.
And, I mean, no collection is really complete without a CCR album because they're the ultimate Americana kind of band.
The ultimate classic rock band, really.
They're good.
Yeah, they're good. They had about... John Fogerty could do no wrong between about 67 and 70.
And they were saying, Kenny Aronoff said, anyone that's learning drums, one of the bands to learn and practice off would be CCR beats.
Okay.
So, yeah, just thought I'd share
He's played with them. With Fogerty.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, live.
Right.
But Aronoff, anyone will take him.
So, those of you out there who like their vinyl mint, Fantasy is usually a good label to go with. They usually put out well-mastered records. Sonically speaking, they don't do too much with it. And so if you want one that's slightly less expensive right now, there's the Analog Production reissue that came out in 2006. That's really good, but this one that just came out was made through what they now call high definition sound files, which means higher than CD quality from because they're basically the tapes are now, they're not crap, but they're going towards the dusty part of it. So they do sound really good for something that's coming off high resolution digital files. That being said, there are 2 editions that are out there. There's the 33 and 1/3 discs and the 45 RPM discs. And I highly recommend the 45.
Okay.
They do sound better. They're slightly more expensive, and also there's the pain that some of you might not know. Those of you who've only listened to music either from a computer or from CDs do not know the incredible pleasure of getting off your ass every 10 minutes.
It's a good exercise.
It's a good exercise.
Every 4 minutes.
But they do sound amazing on a 45. So if you can find them on 45, I'd highly recommend those. And the other reason why this, other than the sound that it's clean, clear, and really enjoyable, is the cover. Because let's face it, vinyl records, one of the great pleasures is looking at covers. And in this case, they look actually better than the original. Because you have to remember, back in the late 60s, early 70s, record printing was somewhat of a crapshoot. You could get a really nice printing of a cover, or you can get them on really cheap cardboard. And in this case, it's a digital print, scan with some of the highest computers out there. So you're getting a really mint cover. So if you're looking for something to add to your collection, you could do worse than buy the new Creedence Clearwater classic Green River and Willie and the Poor Boy from Kraft Records on 180 gram LPs.
Or you could go see Johnny the Cat Records on Discogs, and he has it for $22.99 plus shipping.
The originals.
The originals.
Interesting, really.
The price or the shipping?
Both.
So, well, that's a beautiful. That's the review.
That's the review.
Thanks very much.
That's a beautiful review. And with that being said, it is time for us to bid adieu and time to go. So, to the right of me.
Cold shower, medicated wheeler.
To the left of me.
Dr. Ian Clark.
And I'm Ferris Kennedy, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.